Hello everybody, Crow back again with another pickups video. Now this is actually the first pickup video for me for 2013, and we're already in March. So yeah, I really didn't pick up too much in the first, January, February of this year. I did pick up some stuff here and there, but not enough that would warrant me to make a video like this. And mostly it's because of, if you saw my last game room tour, because of the new entertainment center and the TV I picked up. But yeah, after that was done, I did wind up going to video game store and getting some more stuff, ordering some stuff online and everything. So we'll just kind of start in with actually before I get into this, I'm going to change the format of this a little bit from what you're used to seeing. Now normally I would have had the gameplay footage up here, and then immediately after talking about the game, just show standalone gameplay footage for a little while. I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to show, while I'm talking about the gameplay footage. But then immediately after that, I'll wait till after I'm done talking about all this stuff. And at the end, I'll have the standalone gameplay footage. So if you're not really interested in seeing that, you can stop the video right there instead of, waiting for gameplay footage to go by. Somebody suggested that I not do that. And I could see where they're coming from. So I'm going to try and change it up a little bit. So first things first, we got a couple Blu-rays actually. Non-gaming related stuff. First thing I had to pick up was Flash Gordon on Blu-ray. Love this movie. I've seen it before for $14.99. I just didn't pick it up. But I was at Best Buy and I did see it for $14.99. He's like, you know what? I need to pick up this movie. No reason why we shouldn't have this movie, and it is worth $14.99. So I did pick that up. I'm sure there'll be better deals on that down the road. But I just wanted to get that movie. And then recently, my wife picked up Wreck-It Ralph on Blu-ray. This has the Blu-ray, the Blu-ray 3D, DVD, and digital copy. Now, what was funny was, I think she was at Walmart. Yeah, she picked this up at Walmart, and they had two Blu-ray copies. They had the Blu-ray copy that was Blu-ray, DVD, and digital copy, and then they had this one, which was like the same thing plus the Blu-ray 3D. And both discs were the same, both packages were the same price. So why wouldn't you get the package that has more stuff? I mean, I don't have a 3D TV or any way to watch it in 3D, but you know what? Somebody might have a 3D TV down the road, and I might say, hey, let's watch this movie in 3D. Not really into the whole 3D stuff going on anyway, so yeah, I just picked that up. We saw this in the theater when it came out. It's an awesome movie, lots of video game references. Highly recommended if you haven't seen that and you're even remotely into gaming at all. One weekend in either January or February, I went down to Video Games, etc., or Video Games Then or Now, or just Video Games. I really don't know how they refer to themselves these days. But I looked around, I didn't pick up any games. What I did pick up was this. It's a Xbox 360 Slim internal hard drive enclosure. Now the reason I picked this up was about a year ago my wife was at Target and she picked up the newer Xbox 360 Slim, but it was the 4 gig model that didn't have a hard drive in it. And I kind of wanted to use that as my new Xbox 360. The problem is that because I have the Xbox 360 Elite, I had a 120 gig hard drive. There was no way for me to transfer that in. I was kind of looking at, buying a separate hard drive, but the cost of that is ridiculous. So when I saw this, and it was only $14.99, I was like, you know what? That's awesome. I bought this, took apart the casing for my Elite 360, took out the hard drive, put it in this, slid it in. Bam, no problems at all. Got a 120 gig hard drive in that Xbox 360 Slim. And that's when I finally made the change. I was kind of having problems with my Xbox 360 Elite anyway, because sometimes the door wouldn't open. Actually, most of the time the door wouldn't open. And I've taken that thing apart, thought I fixed it, put it back together, and the door wouldn't open again. It turns out that it would only open if it was laid horizontally. If it was laid vertically, the door wouldn't open. I don't know, whatever. So let's get into the games, and first of all, I'm going to get into the games that you guys know I already got. These were the games from Atari 7800 junkie. I had a chance to actually pop them in and play them. Firstly, the game I got, I wanted to do the whole trade for was Blue Max for the Atari XE. Now, this game was a game I used to play when I was younger. I think it was on an older Atari computer I used to play this on. And I think it was on, I can't remember if I used to play it on cassette tape or disc, but I definitely didn't have the cartridge version of this. And you have to excuse me a little bit if you can't tell. I have a bit of a cold that's, so my nose is a little bit stuffed up, and I got a little bit of sore throat or whatever. I'm just taking some hard candy right now. It's kind of alleviating a little bit of the problem, but I can't help that I may have the sniffles or whatever. But Blue Max, basically awesome game. You basically fly your plane and you shoot at planes and you bomb stuff. It's kind of got the Zaxxon perspective, but you bomb stuff as well. There was actually, when I was playing it, another game I was kind of thinking of, and now I can't. Oh, it's kind of like River Raid too. Like if you combined River Raid and Zaxxon, then you're getting Blue Max. With you also have to land the plane, and I tried for like half an hour or so. I could not figure out how to properly land a plane. I remember having that problem when I was younger too, but I remember I did figure it out at one point. Now I just can't remember it all. But yeah, Blue Max, awesome game. A lot of people are saying the Commodore 64 version is better. Honestly, I have not played the Commodore 64 version. I only played the Atari version, so I had to go with that. Next game we got here, this was also from part of the trade with the Atari 7800 junkie. Illusions on the ColecoVision. This game, holy shit! I requested it, as part of the trade because I didn't have the game. I could not figure out what the hell I was doing at first. I didn't know what I was even controlling. But anyway, I guess there's these illusional patterns on the screen, and there's these blobs going around the screen. I guess, and you're hitting a button, and they at some points they switch levels or whatever. And I'm guessing the goal. I didn't even look up the instructions, but I did eventually kind of figure out that if you merge them together, at least on the first level, merge them together into one blob, you can leave the level and go to the next level. And then the next level, it's another illusion at which you have to separate them all and get them to leave. At which point, it seems like it repeats after there. I don't know, because that took me right back to the original level again. But you have 5 minutes to do it. I cannot figure. This is kind of the weirdest game. Even after playing it for a while, passing level after level, I'm still not 100% sure what the controls are. It's just a really bizarre game. So that's Illusions on the ColecoVision. And then the other game he gave me was, or part of the trade was, 2010, which is actually based on the movie 2010. Now, I've seen the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey. I've not yet seen 2010 for some reason. Now, this cartridge he actually gave me has the 2 overlays in it. This was another game that kind of took me a while to figure out, but I eventually did figure it out. I guess it goes along with the movie, kind of like the plot of the movie, but I really haven't seen the movie. But apparently your ship looks like it's falling into the sun. So you have a limited amount of time to go throughout the ship and fix the circuitry problems, which I think maybe HAL has caused, perhaps. But, so you go through and you have to find the route through the circuitry to connect all the chips and make your way out of circuitry to fix it, all the while evading this little circle that's going around the screen or whatever. Then once you do fix all that up, you start the engines, and it causes more problems. Things go, a lot of the circuitry breaks. You have to go back through and fix the ones where the circuitries have broken, replace the components that are missing, and retrace it. And then apparently that's when you win the game. Now, I only played the first skill level, but the game takes quite a while to play, so it's actually not bad. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Bomb Squad on the Intellivision, except without the voice. The one thing I didn't figure out is why there's a HAL button on the overlay. It's number 5. Every time I hit that button, it didn't really seem like anything happened. So those were the games from the Atari 7800 junkie. What to do next? We're going to do some games from Disc Replay. Not too many of those. We actually made 2 separate trips. First trip I only picked up one game, and that game was Wave Race on the Game Boy. It was kind of interesting. My wife pulled it out and said, "Hey, look, Wave Race." I was like, "Yeah, that's weird. Wave Race on the Game Boy. I wonder how that would look." I basically bought this out of pure curiosity. Started to play it, and it reminded me of Micro Machines game, kind of like a top overhead view, and they kind of got like little arrows and everything going where the waves are indicating or whatever. There's two different game modes, just plain racing, or kind of another mode where you have to go and collect as many flags as you can, while the other, you could go wherever you want, you just collect, go in between the slaloms or whatever, and once all the slaloms are taken, it adds up the points, and so on and so forth. I never did quite get first on any of this, but it was an interesting game. It's really not that bad. Second trip through, I picked up this because I was like, wow, I wonder how this will play. And I was kind of like this game on the TurboGrafx 16, but this is for the Game Boy. This is Bonk's Adventure. It was $8.99, and after looking it up through eBay, I kind of seem to have gotten a good deal on this. They even threw in a case for this one, even though I didn't bring that up to the register. It's like, hey, get me one of those cases for this game. I was like, all right. But the game does play a lot like Bonk's Adventure. Or cut for a second. All right, I'm back. I felt a coughing fit coming on, and I was like, you know what? I gotta do it. Okay, but yeah, Bonk's Adventure. It plays a lot like it does on the TurboGrafx 16, and that's pretty cool for it being a Game Boy game. Looks really awesome. I'm guessing it's playing a little bit more like Bonk's Revenge than Bonk's Adventure. But yeah, it's an awesome game for the Game Boy, and it really took me by surprise, and I'm glad I bought it. Now, the game my wife had bought at Disc Replay is, since she's collecting all the Resident Evil games, she picked up a used copy of Resident Evil 6. This was $21.99. Now, I really haven't played any Resident Evil game since Resident Evil 2, but the storyline of it does interest me, and I have at one point gone and just watched playthroughs of the game, because I'm not really that good at these types of games, but I was interested in following the gameplay and the storyline. So I did watch gameplays of the original Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4. No, actually, I haven't watched 4. I might have to do that. So basically, no, I'm thinking of Code Veronica. That's what I'm thinking of. Not 4, but Code Veronica on the Dreamcast, and the PS2. So I started playing this a little bit just to get a feel of it, even though it's not my game either. Wow, it's totally different, and I'm sure everybody already knew that, and I already did kind of know that. But, most of it was quick time. Most of the game, from what I played up until like a certain point, I guess what I played the not the prologue. I guess I played the prologue before the game actually starts. But it was like mostly quick time action events. A little bit of zombie shooting, but mostly it was, push this button at that point, push that button. And, it's almost, there's really nothing wrong with it if that's your thing. But the series has strayed so far from what the original intent was. In fact, I don't even know why they call the game Resident Evil anymore. It made more sense when it was the first game, and even, when it was the second game. But, from then on, especially Resident Evil, codename Veronica, took place in a lot of different places. And I kind of know, the original, the Japanese version is called Biohazard. So I don't know why, they changed the name to Resident Evil here. Biohazard does make a lot more sense at this point in the game, at a stage in the game, than Resident Evil does. But, whatever. It's okay. I can see where a lot of, people are backlashing against the Resident Evil series. It's no longer survival horror. It really isn't. It's more of just a balls-to-the-wall action game these days. But, sometimes there's nothing wrong with that. But, maybe it should have been a different game. I don't know. Like Devil May Cry originally was supposed to be a Resident Evil game, but then they figured, hey, this has nothing to do with Resident Evil. Let's change the game up. I guess they got tired of doing that and was like, you know what, this is not really survival horror, but we're going to call it Resident Evil anyway. Anyway, moving on, I'm going to go with what my wife picked up at Goodwill a couple days ago. She picked up a couple games she saw. We got Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops for the PSP. She picked up that up for $2.99. Now, I'm not really a big fan of the Metal Gear Solid games either. The whole stealthy type of thing. In fact, when I played the Metal Gear Solid demo for the first time on the PS1, I couldn't figure out why I was doing so bad, because I just wanted to go through and shoot everybody, because that was my habit with those games. The whole stealthy thing. Even on the NES, I never really played it on the NES. It was all about stealth, and I know the series originally started on the MSX, and actually Metal Gear Solid was another series. I kind of was interested in the storyline, and I watched playthroughs of the game on YouTube, because there's no way I know I'd be able to play the games myself. They're just not my games, but like I said, the storylines do interest me. So this game, I was kind of mistaking it for the first Metal Gear Solid game on the PSP, which actually was called Metal Gear Acid, which I think was like a card-based kind of game. But this game, I guess, takes place after Metal Gear Solid 3, which is where Snake. He's the big boss, and it takes place after the events of that. At least according to the back of the box, and from what I gathered from playing it a little while. Still horrible at it. I tried sneaking up and listening on people, what they were saying, and they immediately saw me and shot me dead. I'm like, I couldn't figure out how to pull out my gun. I was like, oh, where's my gun? I don't know. Just punch them to death, and they shot me. I'm just horrible at these games. Next up, for the Xbox, my wife picked up Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Now, again, this is like it's a Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie I was interested in seeing, but still for some reason have never seen it. Never watched the TV show, and I'm pretty sure this is based off the TV show. But I played it a little while. It seems really cool. It really does. It's like kind of almost like a Tomb Raider, Uncharted type of feel to it, where you're solving puzzles kind of, and then occasionally vampires will come out and you stab them with a stake. You punch them a bit. But it's kind of got a really humorous side to it, and I thought it was funny. My wife picked this up for $1.99, so well worth it. But yeah, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And next up, she picked up for the GameCube. This is still Goodwill. Surf's Up, which is that movie. It's a Columbia movie, huh? Anyway, I know about surfing penguins, and that's pretty much what the game is. It's about surfing penguins. And it's not too bad. It is aimed for kids, so there's that. But otherwise, it's okay game. It's a kind of a no-brainer game to play. Kind of like you take Tony Hawk or something like that, or SSX, and you dumb it way down, and you get this game. So you got surfing penguins, and there's actually a chicken in there. I've never seen the movie, but I guess there's a surfing chicken as well. I don't know what the other hidden characters. Hey, that chicken's on the cover too. It's like a beach bum chicken. It's really weird. The thing and this was $1.99, but the thing I found weirdest about this game was it looks like this game came out in 2007, which is actually a year after the Wii had already been out. So this is one of those GameCube games that came out after the Wii was already out. So yeah, pretty weird game. And then we got, lastly, when my wife said she picked up this game, I was like, really? I really like this game. And it's one of those games I kind of wanted to get, and that's Gex for the PlayStation. And she got that for $1.99, and it looks like it's in good condition. You know what? I'm looking at these for a second. Yeah, everything includes the manuals, even Metal Gear Solid, but so does Gex, and everything's in really good condition in this. Like I said, I think $1.99. And I just love these PS1 tall box games. Now, way back when the PS1 was released and they had these cases, I always thought, why this is so stupid? Why do you have these tall cases? The disc isn't that tall, and sure enough, they put them in shortly after, maybe a year after the CD jewel cases, like regular size ones, and it made more sense. But in retrospect, it's kind of unique to have these cases nowadays. And Gex is a really cool game. I played it for the first time in forever, and it really does hold up today. Gex is voiced by Dana Gould, kind of a smart-ass, wisecracking character that he just spouts off all this stuff while you're playing the game. And he's like hooked on TV, so everything's got kind of a TV theme to it. I played this one back in the day. I rented it. I almost beat the game, but didn't quite do that. I also have this game for the 3DO. The game originally started on the 3DO, but when the 3DO started going defunct, they actually Crystal Dynamics ported the game to the PS2. And I believe it might be on the Saturn as well, but the PS1 game is the one I really remember, so really glad to have that. Alright, next up I did make another trip to Video Games, etc., or Video Games Then and Now, as it says on all the labels to the stuff. I should actually start calling it Video Games Then and Now. And I did pick up quite a bit of stuff there. This was like a week or so ago. First thing I'm going to show off here is this N64 controller. Now this is the one and this was $7.99. I remember liking the most. It's a third-party controller. I actually like this more than the original Nintendo 64 controller because you don't have that third handle on it. Let me open this up right now. Yeah, this is the one I used to remember. So I was like, you know what? I want to... yeah, if you're wondering where the Z button is, it's way down here. And where you're not shifting your hand around, you got the D-pad up at the top. You got the analog pad, same thumb, and then you have the buttons on the side. Yeah, I do remember this. What's this one by? I don't remember who the manufacturer is, actually. Oh, Interact. Yes, of course, Interact. So yeah, I remember using this one when I was like, when my dad actually had the Super Nintendo, playing Mario Kart all the time using this thing. And then it got me thinking is like, I started doing Crow Plays. I filmed a whole bunch of Crow Plays on Nintendo 64 games. And it got me thinking, you know what, I really want that controller again. And I saw it's somewhere. So I started looking up on eBay. I started bidding on one. And the bidding went way more than I wanted to pay, like over like $15, $20. I was like, yeah, screw it. I'm not going to bid on it. But sure enough, later in the day, went to Video Games, etc., and they had it for $8. So I had to get this. I have to use it again to try and determine whether or not it was... I actually still do like it better than the original Nintendo 64 controller. I also picked up a handful of Atari 2600 games while I was there. First one we got is Sky Skipper. Picked that up for $4.99. I remember seeing this at Disc Replay, but the label on this was really bad. This label is really, really good. And basically you're flying your plane around, bombing gorillas or monkeys, it seems like. I think they're monkeys because there's a monkey on the label. When you bomb the monkey, he becomes indisposed of for a while, and you can collect the animals. I think they're turtles and bunnies. And you do that, you know, level after level, bomb the monkey, just incapacitate him for a little while so you can rescue the bunnies and turtles. And it just gets harder and harder to fly around in the later levels. Kind of an interesting game, actually. It's not that bad. Next up, we have... Let's see, that one for last. Off the Wall for the Atari 2600. This one was $5.99. Kind of like a weird breakout deal where you're trying to destroy a dragon. What I find weird is this does not support the paddle controllers, despite it being kind of like a breakout type of game. But this was made in 1989, very, very late in the Atari 2600 lifespan. In fact, this was like 12 years after the Atari 2600 had been released. So I had to get that, and the label and everything is really good on that. And next up, we have Gravatar for the Atari 2600. This was $5.99. I remember Gravatar being like an awesome game. If I remember correctly, it was like a vector graphics-based arcade game. So again, this was 1988, 11 years after the Atari 2600 was released. Or as it was known back at the time it was released, the Atari Video Computer System, the VCS. But yeah, very, very nice label. And I was playing this game. It's very, very difficult. In fact, I'm not 100% sure of what I'm supposed to be doing in some areas. You fly from planet to planet and you do a certain thing here and there. But it's kind of got the lunar lander approach going to it. And kind of like, it's like a mix between like, yeah, it's lunar lander basically. Or I guess the map screen is like a lot like Asteroids where you have the momentum going. But everything's got its own gravitational pull. And that's what makes this game really cool. It's really cool to see this kind of game on the Atari 2600. And then the last 2600 game I bought, when I saw this, I have to have this game. Secret Quest, and this was $6.99. Now, if you don't know what Secret Quest is, this is like the last official Atari 2600 release. This came out in 1989. The last game. It's got Nolan Bushnell's picture on it, even though he didn't really program this game. He was just the head of Atari at the time, I think it was. They brought him back to produce this game. More likely, I think that's what it was. So they put his picture on it, and it says video game designer and Atari pioneer. So it's the only Atari 2600 cartridge with Nolan Bushnell's picture on it, apparently. But Secret Quest, if you're looking at the footage, what does it look like? This game was made as a response to Legend of Zelda. So this is kind of like the Atari 2600's Legend of Zelda, except it takes place in outer space. And it was pretty funny because when you start the game, you go to the first room, the first thing you pick up is a laser sword. You go to the next name, it's like kind of like a maze, kind of like the same kind of layout as Legend of Zelda. Well, not the same layout, but we go room to room, or whatever. And your goal is to detonate the bombs and destroy the space stations or something. I don't know. It kind of escapes me at the moment. But just the fact that there's a Legend of Zelda clone on the Atari 2600, officially is kind of hilarious, and that's Secret Quest. So, very, very funny. Next up, I bought for the PSP, because I kind of paying a little bit more attention to PSP games these days, Gunpei, and I paid $6.99 for it. I've heard of this game before. I know there's a DS version for it. I know it's for the Wonder Swan. It was Gunpei. It doesn't say. I can't remember his. No, Gunpei Yokoi. I believe he's the guy that created the Game Boy, the Virtual Boy, the Wonder Swan. This is his game. I guess he made this game for the Wonder Swan, but it wound up getting ported to a lot of different other systems as well. Don't know if there's like an Xbox Live version or PSN version of it, but I know there's a PSP and a DS version of it. It's kind of weird. You shift the lines around on the thing so they go across the screen and kind of collapse. Played it a little while, and looks like there's lots of different game modes, but I only played one for a little while. Kind of trippy, some of the backgrounds in this. Sorry, I just bit into my hard candy. But anyway, you can kind of see from the game footage what it's all about. It's just a puzzle game. Thought it'd be kind of cool to have, so I bought it. Next up I bought for the Saturn, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Now what's funny about this is when I bought it, I thought it was a different game. I was thinking it was Mortal Kombat Trilogy. I was thinking in my head Mortal Kombat Trilogy, even though I was looking at Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. And I was thinking, I don't have that game. I really want that game. And bought it, took it home, and it was like $11.99. So I put it in the Saturn to play it. And it wasn't even until I started playing it, I realized, I got to the character select screen, I was like, wait a minute, this isn't the game I thought I was buying. It's not Mortal Kombat Trilogy, it's Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. And you know what, even if I had realized that, I think I still would have bought this. Because I think the Saturn version, the Saturn game, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, is the only version of Mortal Kombat 3 that was consoleized. I know the PlayStation had Mortal Kombat 3, and then it had Mortal Kombat Trilogy, but I don't think it had Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. So, it would have been cool just to have it for that. I mean, if I'm mistaken, somebody let me know, but yeah, I believe this is the only... oh, you know what? It's on the Super Nintendo and the Genesis too. Now that I'm thinking about it, so yeah, so it's there. But this is actually probably the best version of the game then. And then finally, I had to pick up this game because it was in box. Radar Rat Race. Now it was $12.99. And I don't know if I would have. I was kept thinking, should I buy it? Should I not buy it? And I was thinking, I don't have any boxed cartridge Atari Commodore 64 games like this. So I was like, I have to buy it just because it has the box. It has that classic style cartridge type box for the Atari, or I keep saying Atari, Commodore 64. It's got the manual and the cartridge in there and everything. So I figured buy it. I didn't really know what it was going to be about. I also really like the cover art on this too. It's hilarious. But I really know the game, but I popped it in, started playing it, and guess what? It's a Rally X clone, except the cars have been replaced by mice. And then I don't know what they're dropping behind. Is he leaving feces to block the other rat's path instead of smoke? I don't know. And instead of collecting flags, you're collecting cheese. And then there's also black cats as obstacles. I was never really that good at Rally X, so I really only got to the second level of this. But you know what? Knowing what I know now, would I have bought it? Sure, I would have bought it. I'm glad I got it with the box, because I love the artwork on the box a lot more than I do the game. Alright, I went to GameStop because I was kind of curious to see if they had any more deals on PSP games. Last time I went to a GameStop, they had buy two, get one free. And I went to a different GameStop, just to see if what kind of games they had. And they had a deal. It was buy one, get one half off. Now, I was kind of thinking about buying more games, where I wound up only buying two to buy one, get one half off. And first game I bought was Lego Star Wars, the original trilogy. Or Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. Never really gotten into the Lego Star Wars games, but kind of was looking for something to go along with the other game I bought. But kind of fun. You run through. It's your typical Lego game, I guess. You run through and you destroy people or little Lego people, and they kind of blow up into pieces. And you kind of swap characters to take care of their to use their abilities to progress through the level. And just sometimes it's just a pile of Legos laying around, and your character builds it into what he needs. So yeah, kind of cool. Might play through that. So that's a PSP game. And then the one I got for half off, and the reason I kind of bought the stuff to begin with was God Eater Burst. And this one was what? It was $14.99, so $15. This one was $13.99, so I got this one for half off. And I bought it because I've heard good things about this game. Really didn't know too much about it. It actually takes a long time to actually get into the game, the actual core gameplay mechanics. But I guess there's these really giant monsters, and you have a big giant God Eater weapon, and you could use it as a sword or a gun. I guess that's the way it looks like to me. But it's really cool. And what took me a while to get used to was the fact that since there's no second analog stick on the PSP, they actually use the D-pad to look around. So I'm used to being able to walk and look around at the same time. You just can't do that in this game. But it's still fun to play otherwise. I mean, it was the same thing with Metal Gear Solid too, where you use the analog pad to walk around, but you have to use the D-pad to look around. So every time you want to look around, you have to take your hand off the analog pad, put it on the D-pad to do that. Kind of weird, kind of fault of the PSP itself. But you know what? It's kind of a way to work around it. It works out pretty good. Actually, it's a fun game. We could get into this. What I really liked is you create your character from scratch, and even down to the kind of voice you want your character to have. So yeah, I kind of like that kind of customability in these type of games. All right, next up, I made a couple purchases off of eBay. There's an N64 game I kind of wanted to have. I used to play it. My dad had my dad had the N64, and my sisters played it a lot, and I was really into the first game. Now this was like the sequel on the Nintendo 64, so I figured, you know what, it should be really easy to find a loose copy of this game. This game should be everywhere. But I went to Video Games Etc. or Video Games In and Out. I went to Disc Replay, sorted through all their loose cartridges, both places. They did not have it. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go out and buy it on eBay. And I wound up getting it with the box, and that's Pilot Wings 64. This has the box and the manual. I like Pilot Wings. I liked it on the Super Nintendo, and I liked playing this game the little time I had to play with it. A lot of people say it's just a tech demo, but damn, this manual's a lot more messed up than I thought. I didn't really care about the box or anything that much, but it wasn't too... Oh, wow, it's sticking. But yeah, the manual on this is really messed up, and it showed that in the picture. But the price was really good for it, and you have to forgive me, I can't remember what the price was. I think with shipping it was like $10. But the... also, the label on this is really good. There was a cheaper version on eBay, but the label was kind of messed up on it. I was like, I'm going to go with the one with the box. But Pilot Wings, yeah, you're just doing, you know, you're in gyrocopters, you're hang gliding, and I know there's a human cannonball kind of deal in the game too. That probably have to unlock that I haven't unlocked. But I think I might have to go back into this game and play it a little bit more. Just, you know, it's kind of like your relaxing type, really, you know, kind of relaxing type game. Type of game you could just sit back and play and, you know, do whatever you want. So, yeah, there's that. And then the other game off of eBay I bought was Pretty Can I Really Be the Hero? Now, I had to buy this game because, I don't know if you remember, probably my last pickups video, or the one before that back in December, when I was buying buy two, get one free at GameStop, I bought Pretty 2. They had that, and I played it, and I really enjoyed it. And I was like, oh, the original game was released here too. I'm gonna have to buy that online, and I can't remember what I paid for it, honestly. This was back in January, so I'm willing to say it was around $12. I don't think I would have paid any more than that. Yeah, I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna find out. All right, I got answers. Pilot Wings was $10.50 including shipping. Pretty was actually $8 with free shipping. So yeah, really good deal. Got everything in here too. I know there's kind of like a deluxe version or whatever. A lot of people are selling that, but I just wanted the game, the case, and the disc. So yeah, it plays exactly like Pretty 2. You play a character that is normally very weak, but is given kind of like a power to survive a little bit more than he normally would. The game actually gives you 1,000 lives, and what it is there's 1,000 Printies, and when one dies, another one takes over. So he runs through, you know, slashes stuff with a sword, and kind of's got a kind of butt stomp, that kind of deal, and a spin move or whatever. It's kind of funny. It's based off, it's kind of like a spin-off off the Disgaea series. Tactical RPG game, which I'm not into tactical RPGs, but because of the humor in this type of game, kind of makes me want to try it out, even though I may not like it. But yeah, Pretty Can I Really Be the Hero? Really, and think I'll enjoy that game in the future if I get around to playing it again. And the reason I say that is because these next three games I bought off of various places, but they're all, well, two of them are imports, one of them is not. I bought this one off of Amazon for about $14. This game came out last year. Really didn't know too much about it. And the reason I ran across it is because I was looking up another game, and it was like in the related games section. I was like, related games, click on that. And it looked awesome, and that game is Ikai Katana. It's a bullet hell shooter by Cave. But what really, there's like 3 different game modes. There's the original mode, which is like a 4x3 arcade experience. And then there's a slash mode, which is kind of a more aggressive, you know, Xbox 360 version of the game. And then there's a climax mode, which kind of combines the two. Now, I was really blown away by the climax mode and the original mode because you can, your character, your ship, can summon another character or whatever. It kind of like transforms, as it were. And when you're in this transformed state, bullets can't hurt you. I mean, it doesn't last forever, but bullets will bounce off you. The problem is that when they bounce off of you, they'll turn around and come right back at you. So you kind of got to time things good, but you can kind of manipulate the bullets to cross the path with enemy ships and everything. And it's just a way to earn a lot of points. I mean, basically it's a shooter where the goal is to score as much points as you can. I think you can continue forever, but unless you're really good at the game, you're not going to get a high score. And in all 3 modes, scoring is different, so it forces you to play the game, you know, different ways depending on which mode you're in. I think that's pretty awesome. And I've been kind of in a shooter kick recently. I've been playing games like Raiden 4. I've been kind of wanting to get into Raiden's Fighting Aces. I've had that game and played a little bit. I kind of want to get back to that. And then Under Defeat for the PS3. And that's how I kind of ran across this game. I was like, I gotta get this game. This was released in the US. How do I not have this game? Of course, of course, I bet you if you were to go to GameStop and ask them about this game, they wouldn't even have it in their system because they're stupid like that. Seriously, I went there and asked them about a game that had been out for like 2 weeks, and they didn't know about it. I'm guessing because the name of it wasn't Call of Duty. I don't understand that. They're game specialty store. They should know about those games that would otherwise, not wind up in Target or Walmart. Anyway, moving on. I'm going to go with this game first. I actually just picked this one up in the mail. Came from PlayAsia.com, but I was at home when the post office tried to deliver it. Needed a signature, so I had to go to the post office, pick it up myself. And this is kind of linking back to that rant video I made a while ago, where the game is Fist under North Star Ken's Rage 2. Now, if you remember in that rant video, I was upset that this game was not released in the US. Well, it was released only on the PSN store, download only. But every other region got a hard copy of this game, a retail version, just base copy of this game. And I was like, what the hell? Really? But thanks to a lot of people commenting, they mentioned the PS3 was mostly region free. And I was like, really? So I could have bought the European version, I could have bought Japanese version, but when I went on PlayAsia.com, they have an Asian English version that wasn't quite released yet. So I pre-ordered it, and it got released like maybe 2 weeks later. So that's what this is. This is the Asian English version. And the thing I think is pretty sweet about this packaging is there's no ESRB rating on it. That, to me, is awesome. I hate that. I always hated the ESRB rating. Really, it just destroys the label of the game to me. I mean, I can understand if you need to put it on the back of the package, but the fact that they have to put it on the front, it ruined the game artwork that they decided to go with. I mean, granted, some of these games have really crappy artwork. Even Ken's Rage 2 isn't the best kind of artwork I've seen for a game. But the fact that there's no ESRB rating on it really kind of takes me back. But this is the Asian version of the game, and there's some codes in here for costumes, and I guess I have to create a new Asian account for this for PSN before I can download them. But supposedly, I think if I did that, downloaded them, and then went back to my normal account, I would still be able to keep that. But it's not really. They're just costumes. It's not really that necessary. But back to the game. It is a lot like it is based on the Dynasty Warriors type of game, where you run around, just beating up hordes of enemies. And I know a lot of people don't like that type of game. And actually, I'm not a big Dynasty Warriors fan either. But man, throw in some hand-to-hand fist action, just punching the shit out of people and everything, and I love it. I mean, I love Fist of the North Star. It's my favorite anime. You're making an awesome game based off of it. Now, here's what I've noticed is different. Kind of glancing at the game, it looks like the same game, but the gameplay mechanics are a bit different. There's no jumping anymore. It's dodging instead. They did make a few things I used to exploit it in the original game to make it a little bit easier, like picking up enemies and running into each other, and they made it a little bit harder to grab people too, it seems like, and they threw in a lot more enemies. What else? I noticed that it's not exactly this. I mean, it's kind of telling the same story again, but it is telling it a different type of way. They're going into more detail. And I think the story actually goes further than the original game did. The original game stopped it when Rao was defeated. But the anime actually went on for like 50 episodes after that in, what does it say? It's Shura? Yeah, the land of Shura. So that's after Rao was defeated and Ken winds up in the land of Shura, where everybody's a lot stronger. So that's actually included in the game. They've included more characters to play as. So yeah, I'm guessing if you haven't played either one of the games, you might be able to get Ken's Rage for a really, really decent price. And if you really like it, look into getting this game. Import it though, because it's $60 damn to download the game. It doesn't make any sense to me. You're not buying anything. $60 damn to download the same thing. This cost me $65. Well, plus shipping, plus $5 shipping. $10 more got me what I wanted. A hard copy that I can actually hold in my hand and show on camera. Not that I bought it to show on camera, but I just want it. I wanted a game. I want to hold the game. You know, that way. I don't even want to get into it, but I have two words: Sim City. Next game. When I bought Fist of the North Star Ken's Rage 2, got me thinking, you know what? Wasn't there another type of Dynasty Warriors type game with other license that I was interested in? Looked it up. Sure enough, this game was released last year, and I didn't know about it because it didn't have a retail release in the U.S. Of course, every other region got a copy of this, but the U.S., nope, it was a download only, and that is One Piece Pirate Warriors. Again, based off Dynasty Warriors, but has the One Piece characters in there. And what can I say? I played a little bit. It's awesome. I really like it. You run around. Well, I've only run around as Luffy and a little bit as Zoro, punching people and slashing people up. It starts off kind of like after the 2-year training that they went through by themselves to become more powerful. But then it almost immediately, you kind of play one level as a super powerful Luffy against a robotic Kuma, and then you go all the way back to the beginning, and I guess it's going to retell the story from scratch. And wow, One Piece so far is over 500 some episodes, and there's a lot of ground to cover. So I wonder how far this game is going to go. But it isn't just all like running around and punching people. There does seem to be some little bit of quick time stuff in there, jumping around, and a little bit more so than I noticed in Fist of the North Star. So there's that. It's a little bit more. It got really good reviews, at least in like Japanese magazines and everything. And I love One Piece, so I don't see how I could go wrong with this. This anyway is the European version of the game. I ordered this off of Amazon, and I really wasn't sure what version of the game I was going to get because it said, international version will play on US PS3. I was like, that's good enough for me. I'm buying it, and it was like around $50. And again, $50 is what it would cost if you were to buy it on PSN, which makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I'm into One Piece. I can understand if you're not, but if you are into One Piece, this may be a game worth checking out. And finally, you know what? That's it. There's no finally. That was finally. I was thinking I had one more game, and the fact is I haven't gotten that in the mail yet. And I was thinking I may get it sometime today. I might be getting it sometime soon. And then I looked up my order, and I was like, wait a minute, it's not scheduled to be delivered till the end of March. So that ain't going to happen. So actually, that's the end of the video. If you stay tuned, I'm just going to have clips of all these games after this portion here. I think that might be the way to go, the way for me to do things from now on. So without any further ado, thanks everyone for watching. See you all next time. Bye, and here's some clips.
Coming out of the woodwork.
Down, look!
Huh? What was that? Huh? Huh?
Got a bad feeling about this. Numbskull.
I'm invincible. One for me and one for me. That's your spot.
On to the next one.
I'm gonna squish you up and use your guts for dipping sauce.
Gotta have guts, dude!
Here I come! I'm gonna eat you! Here I come! I'm gonna eat you! I'm gonna eat you!
見とれてる場合じゃないですよ。連想。思い知るのね。喋ったリンが。あんたあの時何したんだ。
その子を離せ。北斗神拳。中国の恐るべき暗殺軍がある。北斗神拳。捕まえたぞ。ざまあみろ。お安いご用だ、キャプテン。任せとけ。捕まえた。逆だ。下手な小細工で逃げ場を失ったのはお前らだよ。
海賊王に俺はなる。
やんなかった鬼切り。なんだ門が開かねえな。
あ